Hello and welcome back to my channel, Thomas Ashley, and of course, welcome back to my series Candid with Cancer. If you're on episode 8 already as we are now, there's no need for me to waffle on and explain, so I'm going to get straight into it. Candid with Cancer 8, my second cancer diagnosis, part 3. After my first round of chemotherapy, I was supposed to have another one to repair my body, but having been so healthy and getting the cancer early, I didn't need a second round. I could have had a couple of weeks out of the hospital and then start the process of the transplant. I wasn't prepared for the transplant. I don't think anyone can be. How do you prepare? But I expected the worst, and I got the worst, and more. I went in at the end of May, into my own room on this ward where I would be in isolation for 4 to 5 weeks. I started a week or so of the special chemotherapy, which was the worst. That's all I can say. After that, I had my transplant. June 6th, 2017. The actual transplant only took 30 minutes. The rest was hell. What went on in that room for the next 4 weeks was awful. Physically and mentally. You are trapped. And you can't do anything. Can't go anywhere. Can't even leave the room. You were lucky if you could even get out of bed or talk. And if you could, you would only be staring out the window. Just like the first time in hospital, everything was a chore. Eating, cleaning, living. It was no way of life. No one could realistically live how I was living. Those 5 weeks in isolation were the longest and worst ever. Worst is an understatement. It was grueling and cruel and more. I was finally released from the room and the hospital at the end of June. And it was amazing to be out. But there was a toll on my body and health and mental health. The process wasn't over. Even though I had left the hospital, I wasn't allowed to see anyone for at least 6 months. I couldn't go anywhere, do anything, or see anyone. Because of my immune system being brand new, like a baby's immune system, my risk from infection was sky high. And just like I said previously, an infection would kill you. On top of that, there are serious diseases which could kill you. One of them being graft versus host disease. So think I live in risk of my whole life, as well as having cancer again, as having had it, you are most likely to get it again. Even though I was at home, I was travelling back to the QE every day or every other day. And some of the worst medication I think anyone could have. There was this one called cyclosporin, which is an immunosuppressant that helps the host accept the new transplant. For me, it was like swallowing used cigarette butts, 4 of them a day for 6 months. On top of this, I was having another 20 tablets a day. It's hard to not forget. I was ill still as well. I remember the journey back and forth from the QE too well. And to this day, it is a journey I struggle to make. The associations I have with the whole journey, the scarring and trauma from it. I can't do it. Even when I am not ill and make that journey, I become ill. I've made the journey for 6 years consistently and it gets worse. I don't know how to describe it or why it happens, but I wish I knew why. Even though all this was going on, one thing I knew what I wanted was to get my A-levels done and move on in life. And that's what I did. I didn't go back to school until after Christmas 2017, but I had tutors I could see when I was at home. I did 2 A-levels. A lot of this period is a blur to me again. It just happened. I put in 100% just so I could stop the suffering and move on. I don't have any memories from school between 15 and 18. All my memories are the experience I had to go through and the raw pain from them. They're the ones I remember because they're the ones which hurt the most. All through my time in the hospital, I knew I was changing, though I didn't want or haven't admitted it. I knew mentally I was changing. Having to experience what I have, to be on your own for that long, to get through it yourself, to miss out on the important parts of your development. At the time, I knew these things were happening. To be isolated and keep yourself company, you change. I can see where some things come from, which, how I am today. Being on my own, keeping myself to myself because I had to. There is a lot. I just don't want and didn't want what I had been through to be the reason I'm like this. But it is. That is hard to come to terms with because I am still Tom. I am me. And I promise. That's Candid with Cancer 8, my second cancer diagnosis, part 3. Thank you all for watching. You know how much it means to me, you know how hard this is, and hopefully it can reach people it needs to do. Again, I'm not going to waffle on because we all know by now, so all I say is thank you for watching, and it would be a huge favour if you could like, if you could comment, and it would be even better if you could subscribe so it can reach the people it needs to reach, and so I can carry on doing this so I can help the people that need help. Again, thank you for watching Candid with Cancer, and I'll see you next week.